John Graden. From my very first karate class, February 12th, 1974, I knew I was going to do this for the rest of my life. What's interesting about that, as I got older, and I was 13 years old at the time, as I got older though, my friends started to follow a more traditional path. You know, go to school, get a good job. They were working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I was working maybe 15 or 20 teaching. I always had cash in my pocket, always had lots of time to play and train and work out and to practice my martial arts. So after a while, I don't want to say there was a resentment being built, but we were clearly leading two completely different types of lifestyles. We had similar interests. They enjoyed martial arts. We all enjoyed the same music. We were high school friends. We were college-age friends as we got older. But in time, some of them were getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to a job they could not stand. They hated this job. I slept in as late as I wanted, got up and ran on the beach, went and got a workout in, maybe went to see a movie, maybe took a nap, and then went in and taught for 4 or 5 hours, then went out at night and had fun. So they were completely different lifestyles. I was enjoying my work. I was loving what I was doing because especially when you're in your young 20s, people don't have a lot of expectations about you having a lot of money or having a lot of things. So that wasn't important. It was quality of life. And quality of life has always been a driving force for me. My friends, on the other hand, they were being pushed in the direction of their programming. What is programming? We're going to talk a lot about that through their series. But right now, programming can be defined as the lessons and rules that the authoritarian figures in your life instill upon you at an early impressionable age. Your parents, the clergy, your teachers, and the mass media. So we're going to talk more about programming as we go through this. But here's my point. In time, I began to feel guilty about my life. I began to feel guilty that I was having such a great time, and life was in many ways so easy for me, and also at such a young age, rewarding. I mean, my friends would go to the restaurant and work as a busboy and get yelled at 18 years old. At 18 years old, I would be in the martial arts school, and the students would bow to me. The parents would come up to me and say, "Mr. Graden, would you please talk to my child? He's having a hard time in school, and he looks up to you so much." There's a completely different level of significance in there. And oddly enough, rather than embrace that, which I did in many ways, it became my identity, I also started to develop guilt. So finally I was in Gainesville right before a karate tournament, and I met an old girlfriend. She's a very wise girl, and she helped me a lot in a lot of different ways. And I sat down with her at lunch outside in a beautiful patio, and I said, you know, all my friends, they hate their jobs, they don't have any money, they're working all these hours. I work very few hours, I love my job, and I always have cash in my pocket. I said, how can that be? It just feels weird. She says, John, I know you. You wouldn't have it any other way. There are moments in your life when you have epiphanies, or what I call emotional thresholds. In other words, you break through to the next level. It was as though my friend, whom I respected very much, said, you have permission to succeed. You have permission to pursue the life that you want. And that was extremely powerful for me. It was like I was released from the bindings of programming. And it made a huge difference in my life. So my purpose in these videos is to help you give yourself permission. Because I certainly, whatever it matters to you, if it matters to you, give you complete permission to pursue the life that you dream of. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to have a lot more fun with these video clips. I'm John Graden. Tune in at johngraden.com.